call of the Hawks can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Welcome into the Pod at the Palace post-game live reaction show presented by Bet Saracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here. I think he might be frozen. I don't know. We'll see what happens with you live for some reaction immediately following Arkansas's 94-85 loss to #8 Houston Saturday in New Jersey. First game this season that you aren't going to be looking back at it feeling like Arkansas should have won, in my opinion. Houston was the better team tonight, plain and simple. Credit to the Razorbacks for settling in, punching back after a disastrous start, but it felt like that stretch decided the game. Arkansas kept scrapping until the end, so credit for that. But you see this often, I think, in college basketball. Arkansas dug itself into a major hole early. They had to empty the tank to get back into the game, and then it was pretty clear in the second half that they weren't able to refuel that tank to be able to get the stops that they needed to overtake Houston there. So we can talk about turnovers that happened early in the game or missed free throws or whatever. It's pretty straightforward to me. You cannot get down by 21 points out of the gates to a team like Houston and expect to come back and win. So very frustrating that they allowed things to snowball like them on that before flipping the switch on. But Arkansas, learning lesson, a little bit of belt to booty in this one today. They lose by 9. One of those games that the final score might not have been quite indicative of how it went down there. And they fall to 2-3 in those big-time non-conference games this season. What do you think, Andrew, about what we just saw?
I'm disappointed. I'm upset. And I'm really just disappointed because I felt like this was a big opportunity for Arkansas. We were so excited going into this game. And I just feel like Arkansas lost to a team that was better than them. And we can talk about why, and we can talk about some of the ins and outs. That's the most disappointing part to me, is that it's not even like the Michigan State game where it played out in a way where I could really do some math and talk myself in of, oh man, if we play this game 7 more times, we might can win a few of those. This one, I really do feel like Arkansas just ran into a better team. We knew that Houston, matchup-wise, was the kind of team that would separate the men from the boys, and you saw a little bit of that in this game. But really, I felt like the big issue was Arkansas just couldn't stay in front of Houston's guards. Defensively, I felt like Arkansas was just not ready for this game. They had their issues with the physicality that Houston presented on the defensive end themselves, but I feel like Arkansas just couldn't guard them at all, and that was the difference in this game. No matter how much momentum, no matter how much they clawed back into this game, they couldn't really get anything. They couldn't get enough stops to even consider if they can come back and win the game. Yeah, no doubt about it. It was crazy. Arkansas allows 40 points in the first 10 minutes of that basketball game. I've never seen anything like it. And Houston, they came into the game with a top 25 offensive efficiency in the country. But that's because of their offensive rebounding. It's because they don't turn the ball over much. It's not because they typically burn it up. I mean, they play a slow pace. They average about 78 points per game throughout the course of the season. And they just blitzed Arkansas right out of the gates. A lot of it was because the Razorbacks were turning it over so much. What they kept putting up the stat there was like 14 points off turnovers in the first several minutes there. And that really haunted Arkansas. They had 9 turnovers about midway through the first half, and they only had 3 the rest of the game. So they cleaned it up, but that puts you in a really difficult spot. Arkansas scored 85 points on this Houston defense. Nobody scored over 76 on them this season. They were 49% from the field. They were 8 of 20 from 3. So, 40% shooting the 3. They did some good things offensively. The early turnovers killed them. Got to the free throw line 35 times, which is a big part of the process of the game plan for Arkansas, but missed 14. Malik Ewan really struggled early, and then he kind of figured some things out. But man, oh man, it was one of those games for Arkansas. We talk so much about offensive rebounding, and Arkansas won the offensive rebounding 12-10. They won the rebounding battle total by 1. But man, those early turnovers and just getting blitzed before you even realize, oh, we're playing a really good basketball team. I guess we better ramp it up a little bit, put them in a tough spot. It talked about them giving up 40 points in the first half of the first half. They gave up 9 in the last 10 minutes of the first half. But you could tell in the second they were so fatigued from that, they didn't have the legs to go ahead and get back in it. And that's on them for putting themselves in that hole. Yeah, and it's really hard to do the side of that 20-1 stretch there where got outscored and dominated. They really did hold, were competitive, and
looks like we've lost Andrew here. He's having a little bit of trouble. That's okay. We're gonna call an audible. We're gonna call John Neighbors in here. I'm sure he's got plenty to say about this about this game. So as soon as he's ready, we'll pop him on. There he is. John, hello, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, just having the pleasure of watching another frustrating loss by Arkansas in a game that I was feeling good about, and that was my problem. Because I felt good about it. I felt good about the possibilities of what it could become, and it just didn't work out. It was a frustrating game. You get to give all the credit to Houston, but man, points off turnovers, missed free throws, mistakes, just brutal. Just killed you in this one.
Yeah, I know. And it was one of those deals, and we were kind of texting about it, and Andrew was the first one on it, where he was like, Arkansas is going to work really hard to get back into this game, and then they're not going to have enough to overtake it. And they did. What they get to as close as like 6 or 7. I didn't do that on purpose, but I think that's what it was there in the second half. And then it was just Houston getting paint touch after paint touch. Man, Arkansas could not keep their guards in front of them and string together enough stops. I mean, they made plenty of shots. They scored enough points to win a game like this. But a little bit alarming that you give up 94 points to this Houston team. And there you have it. So Arkansas takes an L in this one. And is it the end of the world? No, but is it frustrating? Because once they got up like that, I never really felt like the Razorbacks had a chance. And that's what irritates me the most. I'm not going to do the thing where I'm like, oh, play it again, or let's see him in March or something. I don't really know if I want to, but damn it, it's irritating that you had a lot of things go your way. You get to the free throw line 35 times. You get Tugler and Sinek, they're two bigs, in foul trouble. They can barely play in the second half. But then if you got the Malik Ewan breakout game, I know he missed some free throws, but you got 20 out of him. It's a career high 27 points for Darius Acuff. Like, he had some good things, but then you look up at the end of the day, Trevin Brazile, 3 shots. He was 1 of 3. Carter Knox, 1 of 6 from the field. Malik Thomas wound up with 7 points, but he didn't score until well into the second half. DJ, he hit that 3 there at the end, but he missed a lot of wide open shots for you. Just too many guys who did not bring their A game, and you got to come ready to play against a team like Houston.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, we knew going into this that I think we even talked about on Friday, you got a Hall of Fame coach in Kelvin Sampson, like maybe one of, if not the greatest college basketball coach to never win a championship, or at least not yet. You knew that the type of team that he's always going to have. I mean, they're a team that's gotten to the national championship. They've gotten to Final Fours. They're not going to be scared of an Arkansas team coached by John Calipari. Like, they're not going to go into that game scared. You knew you were going to have a physical bout on your hands, and you knew what it was going to be all about. And here's the thing, Curtis, is like, there's some things that are very fixable. Like, your turnovers are fixable. Arkansas's free throw shooting, and not saying that it's always going to be perfect, but it's definitely capable of being better. It's fixable. And I don't want to try to play the glass half full thing, but it's more pissing me off because I know this team is capable of more and capable of being better. And in this type of game, in this type of environment, on that type of performance, like you said, is it in the world? No, but it just is really frustrating because I know this team is a lot better than what we saw today. And the fact that they just let it get out of hand so quick in the beginning part was just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's frustrating for different reasons than the other losses. Like the Michigan State game, that's one that we'll look back at all year and be like, they should have won that game. Come on. The Duke game, it was missed opportunities at the end, but you really felt like you belonged on the floor with them. You felt like you had a chance. Like, I wouldn't be sweating it seeing Duke again necessarily. But yeah, this game against Houston here, it got away from you pretty quickly. And it was the first one that was kind of a wire to wire. You just lost. Like, Houston was just the better team. And we couldn't even really make the argument otherwise if we wanted to. And so that kind of stinks. But yeah, does this all of a sudden have me going, oh man, I don't know if this team's ready for SEC play? No, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that at all. We've seen Arkansas ratchet up and play some really, really good basketball. Do they have some things they have to figure out still, though? Like the defensive end of the floor, you gave up 94 here to Houston. That's a lot, man. That's way too many in a game like this. Texas Tech, they were awesome in the second half, but in the first half, didn't they give up 49 in the first half to them also? So, they got some things that they really need to clean up on that end of the floor. You're still kind of fighting that battle of getting certain guys to show up more consistently for you. Some guys who are just in slumps and some guys who have been inconsistent for you all season. And then, the X factor, it seems like for Arkansas, is Trevin Brazile, right? When he plays well, Arkansas wins. When he doesn't, Arkansas loses. When they're playing real teams, it's pretty much as simple as that. The 2 fouls for him early, and he had to set the whole rest of the first half. that was a killer. And then he never was able to get into any sort of rhythm. And I thought he was playing decent early. He was pretty good on the glass. He was active in there. He hadn't got a shot off yet. But especially that first foul, and I'm not making excuses for the officiating or anything, but it was a very soft call. And next thing you know, Brazil and Carter are both out of the game. And that's when it snowballed on Arkansas in a hurry, where he had to put Carter back in, who didn't play well. But I don't know, man. Just one of them days at the office, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Arkansas even had some stretches. I mean, like, because let's be honest, when they were down, I think it was at 21 was the most that they were down, and they stormed back, like you mentioned. Like that was incredible. Like I even tweeted out before half, I was like, man, if they get it to 5, which I think it ended up being 8, it's like, man, I'm going to count this as one of the biggest wins you could have, because they just look completely and totally lost out there. And then they got it going, but it's just like you got a great performance out of Darius Acuff, which I know people are going to talk about and you're going to talk about as well, but it's like you had stretches, you had moments, you had these things, but this was what I was really hoping we wouldn't see from Trevin Brazil, where it's just like, so many great games back to back and looking so good. And then just, he looked like Trevin Brazil. Not, I'm not saying that he was horrible in every aspect, but if he's going to play 21 minutes, only get 5 points, only shoot the ball 3 times. I mean, it's just, 5 points on 3 of them being free throws is just not a recipe for success for Trevin Brazil in this team.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. And he'd probably been playing a little bit out of his mind. And it's not that Trevin's not going to have a great season, but like the 25 points a game and double doubles every night, you're probably not going to get quite that much from him. And I kind of thought coming into this game, like if you could get 13, 14, and 8 or something from Trevin, which is about what he averages, honestly, then you'd be in a pretty good spot. Like I don't know that they need the Herculean type of games that he's been putting out there lately, but you certainly we're not in a position to have him not only, be a little bit of a no-show from a production standpoint, but not even be on the floor for such a long stretch there. That really impacts things for Arkansas. And, they kind of did it to themselves. I was surprised, John, that when things were unraveling and snowballing in the first half, that Cal just didn't call a timeout, bro. Like it was like, okay, it's a 9-0 run. It's a 15-0 run. It's an 18-2. Like it just kept on and on and on. I'm like, bro, call a timeout and just breathe for a second. And they were able to kind of get back in it anyway, but that surprised me a little bit that he just kind of let that go. I don't know if it was like a teaching moment or if he just wanted him to try to get up and down or figure it out on the floor, but I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, that was something that I was wondering, like, are you just using this as a teaching tool? Like, I don't like it if you are. Like, you do that in these other games. You do that in the games against, Winthrop or whatever, when you're trying to figure some things out. But when this is a game changer type of game that you can, if you win it and, you want to play your best for it, it can really change some trajectory. It could be, honestly, at the end of the season, one of those games that makes a difference between being like a 3 seed and a 5 seed, like it could be that much of a difference. And so, yeah, I didn't understand that. And I honestly thought that it was going to really play out well for Arkansas when I saw Sinak, like in the first second of the game, got a foul.
Yeah. On the jump ball. That's right.
Yeah, the fastest foul I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, all right, you got him already in foul trouble in a second in, like, this is going to be great. But yeah, that was, it's just that run, man. I think even Andrew texted in our group. It's like that run, you just felt like it was insurmountable. Even though they got close, even though they flirted with it, that one, they just put Arkansas on the ground. I think it was a 15-0 run, something to that extent, doing it on a turnovers. Just Arkansas looked lost. And yeah, it was just, it was weird to see that with Cal not taking a timeout. That stretch I hated everything about it and I never want to see it again.
Yeah, I could definitely do without those moving forward. Yeah, I mean, the first 10 minutes of that game, I was watching Houston, the way they were flying around defensively. And I mean, they would gamble and double team. And then, Arkansas would make a skip pass across the court. And then the guy would move faster than the basketball to recover. Like, it was crazy how quick they were moving, how aggressive they were. And I was kind of in the point right then where I was like, oh, wow, they might hold Arkansas to that 57 points they're giving up on the year. But they wound up scoring a bunch of points in this game, and they just couldn't get stops. If you would have asked me, if you said, okay, Arkansas is going to lose by 9, tell me how you think it's going to happen, I would not have said, well, Arkansas is going to score 85 points on them. They're just not going to be able to get a stop against this Houston team. So that was a little bit weird, the way that it went down there. 11 threes from Houston in this game. Damn it. I know that they came into the year into the game shooting like 34% from 3, more volume than normal. But I mean, if Houston the way that they play, like their brand of basketball, if they're hitting 11 threes, they're not losing to anybody. And it's not like, and I'm not saying like, oh, they were just hitting these crazy contested shots. No, they were pretty much drilling open ones out there, except for, Sharp pulling up from NBA range a couple times. But good grief, they were super efficient.
Yeah, that's something to where it's like, if you would have told me like, hey, Darius Acuff's going to have another 27-point game, and do that Malik Ewan's going to come in here and get 20 and nearly a double-double. It's like, oh, okay, this is already setting up nicely for Arkansas. But like you said, the 3-point shooting, and I make the joke, and it's not like, oh, it's just bad luck, but I always make the joke. I'm like, death taxes in Arkansas giving up threes at a record rate to their opposing teams. And usually it's at home, but this one was just something to where, like you said, if Houston has this type of performance against anybody, they're not going to lose the game ever, period. End of story. Like, they're just not going to. So again, it's not that one of these deals of just, it's a no big deal, big nothing burger. This game doesn't count. No, it counts. Like, it matters. And it matters that Arkansas lost. And it is frustrating. But it's also, again, you have to tip your cap to just the way that Houston played in a lot of cases. And basically, whatever mistake Arkansas made, Houston took advantage of it. And that's why they're such a good team. And that's why they're well coached, is because whether it's the turnovers, whether it's them always seeing like they stopped the run, like when Arkansas went on a little bit of a run, 5-0 run or something, somebody would just crush a three and it just take the soul out of the body. So that's why I'm giving a lot more credit to Houston in this game, just because they stepped on the throat, they finished it out, and every single mistake that Arkansas could make, Houston sat back and said, okay, cool, we're going to make you pay for that mistake. And that's why Arkansas lost the way they did.
Yeah, they definitely did. To illustrate your point there, Arkansas turns it over 12 times, which is that's not a bad number. It was just a flurry of them early, but 19 points off of those turnovers. So they were pretty much scoring every time that you turned it over. And the flip side of that, to make it even worse, is that Arkansas did not do that. Now, first of all, they didn't really turn Houston over until the end. They had a handful there, only 9 turnovers in this game for Houston. But even when Arkansas would, catch a break or have something go their way, they weren't able to take advantage of it. For example, the flagrant one where the dude, got tied up with Pringle and everything. Well, that's an opportunity, and you miss both free throws, and then you miss a layup on the ensuing possession. Like, that's 4 points right there that you don't get. And then there were a couple times there where Ewan, great work. Boom, you got Tugler up in there, got him in, another foul on him. That's awesome. You go to the line, you miss both, and then they come down and hit a three. It's just, and it happened every single time. Not only did they take advantage of your mistakes, they took advantage of you not taking advantage of their mistakes. And so it was like a domino effect out there in this game, which was crazy. And I know people were getting, it sucks, man. Like, I think about doing these report cards, John. I'm like, dang, the 20-9 from Ewan, like, this is awesome. The free throws were killer, though. It's like he got Tugler out of the game. He did everything he needed to do except make the damn shots at the line, and I know, I guess he made like his last 4 or something, or 4 out of 5 or whatever. That's great. But it seemed like every time he went up there and missed 2, Houston went and got a bucket, and it just kept you from fully getting all the way back into it. I know it's irritating. He's not the only one. We talked about Pringle missing. Acuff missed 3. He was 8 of 11 though. Billy missed 1. So, everybody had some issues there, but 21 of 35 from the line for a team that's shooting 77% on the year coming into the game. And what that is Houston wears on you, man. They're so physical, they're so aggressive that your legs, they feel like they've got cement bricks attached to them. And you go up there and you're short arming them a little bit. You got to be ready to knock down free throws in those moments. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, they were everything as advertised, and I don't know how many times I saw the little stat brought up actually when I had TV to watch it, because I've been having my own internet issues today, but luckily it's working fine, knock on wood. But either way, I saw how many times that I see the little graphic pop up. It was like, Houston, this is not Arkansas, but Houston, no field goals for the last 3 minutes. Like there was a lot of times where Houston had that, but yet you just never felt comfortable. And so here's the thing, and I know we'll have chats and everything too, Curtis, but it's a matter of, is this going to be a hindsight game? Because is this going to be the thing where it's like, all right, you were feeling yourself too much, you got humbled a little bit, and now you're going to go take it to Tennessee. I know you got a game up against James Madison, but it's like, Tennessee coming to town, you're going to get your get back, you're going to kind of reset and restart the engines and get back after it. Or is this going to be a game that ends up, causing some issues for you and really exposing some weaknesses? I don't really know, but again, I'm not happy that they lost. It's going to piss me off when I can think about it again later tonight. But at the same time, it's like if this leads to a lesson that can be learned, if this can lead to something where you get better from it and you win a couple more games, I'm willing to sacrifice that. It's just the manner, as you said, the manner in which you lost is what's so frustrating about it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Couple more things before we get into the chat that I just wanted to touch on. I'm sure there are going to be some chats about it, but where are we at on the scale of 0 to oh crap with Malik Thomas at this point? I mean, it's everybody has a slump. Every freshman has a slump. And like even Darius Acuff had a couple games early in the season where he was just kind of really uneven and not efficient and everything. But now it's 4 games now, like the month of December. He's really struggled. And I know he got a couple shots to go down there late in that game, but boy, he looked a little bit overwhelmed out there, looked uncomfortable out there. He's such an important part to what Arkansas has got going on. Where are we at with him on the concern meter? And then I guess with some of these other guys, it's just like, all right, you thought that they were starting to settle in. You thought we were about to get some more consistency, and looks like we're still doing a little bit of the ups and downs. And that's guys like, DJ and Carter.
Yeah, it's like I keep, we talked about it last week, but it's like you keep hoping that, hey, just open those floodgates, man. Just hit a couple of shots and Malik will start getting back to it because you know how good he is. You know what he's capable of. And it's just, this was what I was afraid of, Curtis, is that the time when you need him to, like you haven't needed him to before because you've had Trevin Brazil show up. You've had other guys show up. Like all of that's great, but it's like, man, that you really could have used you getting it right this time, and that could have made a huge difference, which Arkansas scored 85 points, so it's not like they just had nothing going offensively, but it's just in those times where you needed that 3, you needed that shot to be able to stop the bleeding a little bit. That's something that Malik Thomas could really provide for you and maybe even go on a run on his own, and it just didn't happen. So that's upsetting, but yeah, man, we're talking about 3 games. I mean, maybe James Madison's when you get back after it, but no one's going to be feeling sorry for Arkansas. No one's going to be feeling sorry for Malik Thomas. Like, you got to get it going right now. SEC play starts in, 2 weeks, if that? So you got to get it going right now, and there's no time to waste. So hopefully whatever it takes, whatever, the secret stuff from Space Jam he's got to drink, I don't know, but he's got to figure it out, dude.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, folks, we're going to get into your chats here in just a second. And then we'll see if we can get Andrew back in here. He looks like he's just he's going crazy backstage, just waiting to fire off some takes. So we'll see how that looks here. But first, got to tell you guys about our friends over at OZK Insurance. We appreciate them for sponsoring our post-game content here at the Pod at the Palace this season. Nobody wants to deal with the hassle of shopping around, and that's why I use and recommend OZK Insurance. They're based right here in Arkansas, and they shop multiple carriers to find the best coverage and price for you, whether it's home, auto, business, you name it. Whether it's Saturdays at Razorback Stadium or everyday life, you want protection you can count on. With over 600 5-star Google reviews, count on OZK Insurance. Get a free online quote at ozkinsurance.com or call 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. There he is. You already look a little better than you did earlier. How do you sound? How do you feel?
Well, I feel horrible still, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, but I do hope that at least you can see more of my face. Curtis, I want to answer the Malik Thomas question real quick.
Yes, please do.
My oh crap meter is still very high, and it's been getting progressively higher and higher. I got to be honest, there's all these things, defensively, I think he kind of is who he is, and he actually makes some smart defensive plays at times. I'm okay to live with that. For me, it's all about the ball handling. And sure, I'd like to see him shoot it more consistently. His handle is just not there. And I think he was able to hide it earlier in the year. And, because he was making shots, because he didn't really have to do too much. When you face teams like a Michigan State, like a Houston that are going to contest every dribble and really press you and really force you to make good decisions, his ball handling deficiencies have been exposed a little bit. And he just looks a little bit weak. You kind of jokingly suggested he should take some steroids in our group message. I'm sorry to out you on that. But seriously, he really, I really do. And I hate to say it, I'm not about to do the thing where I'm like, hey, you should come back for another year of college, because I don't think that's going to happen. But geez.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a weight room thing to your point there. And his handles, it's a little bit, I don't know. There's like an east-west nature to it, as opposed to being able to get somebody on his hip and get downhill a lot. And now he's a tough shot creator, and he's shown to be at times a tough shot maker. But I think we're starting to see a little bit of why Cal all summer and all preseason was just every time he'd be in front of a microphone and somebody would ask about Malik Thomas, he was like, yeah, it's cool, but he's got to stop dribbling. Like he has to stop pounding the ball into the hardwood so much. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of why he felt that way. And I think it's a strength thing because some of the stuff that he was doing earlier in the season, which was awesome, it's different doing that against a Winthrop guard as opposed to a Houston guard. And you're right. They were able to get in him. And it seems like since that Louisville game where they were just really closing hard on him and just trying to run him off the line and, hey, you're going to have to go in there and finish against grown men in the paint. It seems like that's an adjustment he's still working on making. And it's been a little bit problematic there. My hope was that you could still have a situation where he was able to move without the ball. And he's usually pretty good at that. Mm-hmm. The 1-3 that he did make was a great read on the play. He got to the corner, got his feet set and knocked it down. But if he's going to struggle to create his own right now, you need him to be more of a 40% 3-point shooter. And he's in a slump knocking down those shots as well.
He needs to go to the Nelly Davis school of learning to be that floppy off-ball shooting guard. And like you said, if you're not going to be able to create your own looks, that's fine. Most freshmen don't. And frankly, on this team, we've got some guys that can create some looks. You need to be knocking down those open ones. Let's just start there, and then we can work from there and build and kind of round out your game. But yeah, it is disappointing that it just hasn't really materialized yet against good teams.
Yeah, and I was encouraged in that Louisville game because they kind of took away the 3-ball from him to a degree, but then he got to the free throw line 10 times. And I was like, okay, there's enough craft there to where he can get a guy off his feet or whatever and draw some fouls and get to the line and make up for some of it that way. And now we're not really seeing as much of that either. So some stuff to work on. This is the time to do it. I mean, you got 9 days between games and, I don't know how much stronger you can get during that time, but he's a talented enough player to where I would think he would be able to find a way to get himself going. But yeah, it's something that we certainly need to keep an eye on. And me and John were talking about this, and we'll get to the chats in just a second. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us here today. But it's tough when you think about this starting lineup. You get 27 out of Acuff. Well, that's great, man. DJ got 11, but I mean, how many wide open looks did he miss in this game? A little bit of a struggle there from him at times, but when I look at this and it's like Brazil 1 of 3, Knox 1 of 6, Pringle, not that you expect him to do a whole lot offensively, but you only get 9 minutes out of him, a couple rebounds. He doesn't take a shot. It's like, well, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? And I know it's could be a hindsight thing because Ewan just had a big breakout, but and I don't want to overreact to one loss, but maybe there are better lineups because if you really look at it, starting games here recently, like Arkansas got down by double digits to Texas Tech before they figured it out. And it wasn't with their start group that they figured it out with. Arkansas gets down by 21 here against Houston. And then they fight back and get it to within 7 or whatever, get to 8 at halftime. It wasn't with their starting group that did that. So maybe it is time for the patented Calipari tweak. I don't know.
Well, we're kind of back to square one. Because you remember day one of the offseason, the lineup that kind of everyone projected was, okay, you have one of the freshmen, DJ, Carter, Trevin, and then one of either Pringle or Ewan. We all kind of guessed Ewan. And if you remember, we were in, I guess that was that Hot Springs that they did that nice little tip-off tour thing. And that was the lineup they started with. And you were like, hey, this is the lineup that we've all predicted. This is the lineup that they want to start. And then the season came around and they started Pringle over Ewan, and we were fine with it. I mean, it wasn't something we were married to, but it is kind of funny how you go into a year with a projection, and then sometimes things play out, and a guy's better than you thought, a guy's worse than you thought. But it does kind of feel like we are back to square one, where maybe that is the lineup Arkansas needs to start with. And I know there's a lot of people that want Malik Thomas in that starting lineup right now. Like you said yesterday on the Alumni Hall show, I just don't think that's the time for that move. But yeah, I do think there's something to think there. One last question before we get into the chat. I want to throw it to you real quick. They talked about it on the broadcast. Would Arkansas consider just going to a zone? And I know that's kind of like a cliche of like, oh, if your guards suck on defense, you need to play zone. Would Cal consider it?
I don't know.
I mean, he might
probably
have
not.
to, dude.
I guess they did like a couple possessions of it last year when we thought that wasn't going to happen. So maybe there's something to that. Crazy thing, Arkansas forced Kelvin Sampson into running some zone today, and we never thought we were going to see that. The dude just said something about on the broadcast of what'd he say? I gotta lick some salt or something if we see a zone from either one of these teams. Next possession, Houston is in it, and it was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
well, that's kind of crazy, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
It was a wild bunch of possessions too, because there was a few times where I thought Arkansas handled it really well and got the ball in the middle, and I was like, "Oh man, that's awesome!" Ewan rushed a shot one time, but yeah, that matchup zone really did kind of give him some fits.
Oh, goodness gracious. Anything else before we get into the chat, Andrew?
No, I think I've
I know
interrupted you all I can do. In a 5-minute stretch, I've interrupted you as much as I possibly can.
I don't think that's true, man. I'm just glad that you're back here. I know you had a lot to say about this one, so it's all good.
You were like, no, I know you can interrupt me more. I know.
All right. Well, let's get into the chat and see what everybody's got going on here. If I can get it to pull up. There we go. All right. And appreciate everybody for being here, rocking with us. We'll run through the super chats. Maybe we'll have some time to get into some other things there, because I know a lot of people have a lot to say about this game. From JJK, we appreciate you, says, our free throw shooting sucked. 21
Ewan was 4 for 12 at one point, or he was 4 for 11 at one point.
Yeah. Yes, he was. Yeah, and then me and John were talking about it. I know that you were listening, but it's a pretty tough look when you get that flagrant and you're not able to take advantage of it. Like, you missed both free throws, and then DJ missed a layup, and it was like all that, and we got nothing out of it. Like, it's a 12-point game. You could have cut it down to 8 or 7, and instead you don't get anything out of it. Now, Houston didn't wind up scoring on their ensuing possession, so that's nice, but it's just, opportunities left on the board there. If you're Arkansas, I know it's a little bit frustrating for folks, and I get it. Like, you cannot miss 14 free throws in a basketball game. That's usually a recipe to not win, especially against a team like Houston that's so damn hard typically to score on when you're in the half court. From Acme Bricks, we got shout out to our favorite hog, Malik Ewan. If you were in need of bricks, come see us at one of our many locations across Arkansas, or tune in when Malik is on the free throw line. I just think this is such a shitty chat. Of all the things that happened in this game, I know he missed some free throws, but the dude gave you 20 and 9, and you had like 4 players who just flat out no-showed totally in this basketball game. So I'm all for, and that was a funny chat, by the way, but like, I'm all for being frustrated about him missing free throws up there, but my frustration is not necessarily directed towards Malik Ewan for this performance today.
100%. And frankly, he threatened Houston with something, which was just nice to see someone else do, especially when they started, when Tugler had his fouls, Sanak had his fouls, Arkansas started attacking that interior. Like, he gave Arkansas life, man. And yeah, he certainly could have made a higher percentage. It is just a tough look to be like, hey, the guy who had 20 in this game, I wish he would have had 26.
I know.
I get it, but it is tough.
Yeah. Him getting those 2 fouls on it's crazy, because he got those 2 fouls on Tugler early in the second half, and then he had 4. I was thinking, hey, this could actually be a huge turning point in the game. But then it turns out scoring wasn't necessarily the problem from there for Arkansas. And he's such a good defensive player. Like, they just couldn't get a stop. And Houston going a little bit smaller may have actually benefited them in this game. They did a little bit better. And at that point, they just need to score enough to hang on and win. And that's exactly what they did. Garrett McCollum says, gross loss when you score 85 against Houston. You win 9 out of 10. I agree. He says today was the one where we defended bad and they just hit some tough and big shots. Regroup, nothing to lose, sleep over, SEC time.
I don't hate this point of view. I really don't. And like, I don't want to do the thing where I'm just like, hey, tough matchup, not our night. Let's move on. It doesn't really mean anything moving forward. Because it does mean something, and certainly, look, you're trying to win a national title. We're trying to go as far as we can in this tournament. I don't like seeing a team out there that we kind of know has a lot of answers against us. And we don't have a ton of answers defensively against. But I do think this is a very unique Houston team. It's not like you're going to face 5 of these in SEC play, but it is something that as you move forward, we're going to keep in the back of our mind, no doubt about it, and we should.
Yeah. And I think this is interesting because like this happens against Houston. And so I feel like immediately a lot of people are going to look at like Tennessee, for example, and go, well, it's another team that's kind of like, Houston. They're super physical and everything. And they kind of hang their hat on their defense. So Arkansas is really going to struggle in that game. But, after the first 10 minutes, Arkansas didn't struggle with their physicality. They won on the glass. They limited Houston on the offensive backboards. They chilled out on the turnovers. They just couldn't get the stops there. So if I'm Arkansas, I'm actually looking at this going, Okay, good. Because Tennessee can be a little bit offensively challenged at times. They're really dependent on Gillespie, and then they have to kind of hope and pray that Nate Ament gets himself going. So Tennessee's very good. That's not going to be an easy game, whether it's at Bud Walton Arena or anywhere else. But I would probably rather see them right now than Alabama, or somebody like that personally, because all the reasons you thought Arkansas might lose this game were not really the reasons why they lost it, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I do think, and the fact that, I mean, what did Arkansas finish with turnover wise? 14, 15 turnovers? They calmed
12.
down a little bit.
12.
Yeah, so they ended up with only 12, which is actually kind of crazy because they had 9
in the second half. Yeah.
Right, yeah, they had like 9 right out the gate. But yeah, for Arkansas to score at the level they did, it definitely means something. Like, there's going to be a lot we take away from this game. There's not many teams in the SEC who are going to defend anywhere close to the level that Houston did, and Arkansas scored 85 on them. So yeah, I'm kind of with you where, in a weird way, I know Tennessee beat this Houston team, but that's somehow a more ideal matchup. But yeah, there are some teams in the SEC that I'm like, man, they're going to be able to score on Arkansas. But I think we're okay with that, with the premise of Arkansas being in a bunch of fast-paced shootouts. We kind of knew that.
Yeah. It says Arkansas only had 7 fast break points in this game. I felt like they were getting up and down a decent amount, but that just tells me that they're scoring on Houston's half-court defense. So yeah,
I can never tell with fast break points, like because sometimes you inbound the ball quickly and you go down and score, but that's not a fast break. That's just a fast possession. And so some of that, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. From Paddlefish, we appreciate you, says, is Carter undergoing an effort issue? He's out for blood versus Tech, then goes ghost when we needed him most. Good.
Well, he had 2 quick fouls in this game.
Plays hard when he feels like it.
I mean, he missed 12 straight minutes of the first half where he gets the 2 fouls and then sits for.
They brought him back in at one point in the first half, but he's set for a hot minute there.
Right. And so that's not an effort issue. That's hey, you picked up 2 quick fouls and that sucks and you don't need to do that. His shot attempts, by the way, were really bad. I think he was 1 of 5 in this game. Some of his shot attempts were not even remotely close.
Didn't have his feet set. He was rushing them in there from 3. And he had the one little downhill drive where he did the step through and then kind of airballed the layup there.
He thought he was going to get fouled and thought he had to go to the other side, and the guy didn't even contest the shot.
Yeah. It was a rough showing from Carter for sure. I will do the rewatch. I don't know that I noticed a lack of effort or anything like that. I just think he had a hard time getting anything going against this Houston team, and he was definitely sped up from an offensive standpoint. And I do think if there was some, maybe it was, okay, you got 2 fouls and then we have to bring you back in the first half. And he was probably explicitly told, like, dude, don't get your third. So maybe he was playing a little bit soft in there. But at the same time, when he was in there, was in that stretch of 10 minutes where Arkansas only allowed 9 points. I don't know how you give up 40 in the first 10 minutes of a game and then only 9 in the next 10 minutes, but that's what Arkansas did. So I have to go look at that. But more than anything else, it's frustrating, I guess would be the word, or I don't know. It's frustrating for me because now we have to keep having these conversations because for 3 or 4 games, it looked like Carter was really settling in, and he's not going to be awesome every game. He's not going to go for 20 every game like he did against Tech, but these types of performances where he can't get anything going and really labors in there, I was hoping that we would be done with those, especially in big moments.
We agree that it's not an effort thing. And I really still don't think it is, but he and Trevin do have to get over this little thing about if the first 4 minutes of the game don't go your way, you never get it back, Yeah. Because both of those guys, think of some of the best games we've ever seen from Trevin. He probably hit a 3 very early, didn't he? And Carter, the best games we've seen him play as a Hog, he comes out of the gate hot, and we've seen it. If he comes out hot, he can play with anybody. Both of those guys need to figure out what it is about why they can't respond to adversity, why when the first few minutes don't go their way, they just kind of drift out of the game. And that's why Paddlefish is openly questioning his effort, is because Carter has that tendency to, when it's not his night, he kind of knows it's not his night. And it's like he does, even if it's not a bad effort, it just kind of, he doesn't impose his will in the game. And
it's almost
there
like
has to be a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like he accepts it a little bit. Like, I just ain't got it. Maybe he's still playing hard or whatever defensively, but there's something about Carter when he's just being super aggressive. Even if the shots aren't falling and stuff, it's endearing. And I think you're onto something there. If there's any type of adversity then anything that kind of throw you out of whack, it's hard for him to kind of get back on track. It seems like hard to deny this. The student section pod says they got Darius Acuff and Ewan playing 2-on-5.
I would agree.
Yeah, I mean they combined for 47 in this basketball game. I thought Billy was really good. I don't understand where Billy was for a large portion of the second half. I know he got 3 fouls in the first. And so that kind of sucks, but when did maybe I just missed a rotation or something. Let me see here.
I think it must have been the second half.
Yeah, he came in pretty quick, but he only played a couple minutes. He came in like 2 minutes into the second half and he was out 2 minutes later. And then it was just, it was very much in and out, in for a minute, out, in for a minute, out. I don't know. I thought he looked good in there. And he was a big reason why Arkansas kind of settled their butts down and got back in that game.
He was also the best shot maker on the floor.
5 of 6.
Hit a very important
2 from 3.
Yeah, hit a very important pull-up 2. Hit 2 threes. By the way, both of the threes he made, maybe not the second one. The first one that he made, I was like, that's the worst shot ever. There was like 22 seconds left on the shot clock. And I was like, oh my God. But no, Billy's in games like this where you're like wherewithal and your gall is tested, you need Billy Richmond. And he was game for sure. I loved his minutes.
Chance Nichols, appreciate the super chat, says we had a bad game and still played this well. It's hard to word that. I understand what you're saying though.
Right.
Like this could have very easily gone sideways for Arkansas. And, we've seen a lot of teams in the country so far this season randomly lose by 30 plus, like really good ranked teams have done that this year. And I thought that this might be where it was headed for Arkansas, and it didn't. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep going back to those first 10 minutes. And like, I understand Arkansas could not get a stop, could not keep Houston in front in the second half. I think it's because they just ran out of gas from having to fight back from that big hole that they dug themselves. It's not an excuse, but it's just true. Like you don't go from playing 10 straight minutes of basketball and holding Houston to 9 points to all of a sudden you just cannot guard them at all. They wore themselves out doing it. And that's a credit to Houston. Like they jumped out, they got the big lead. They put a ton of pressure on you. They make you work. They wear you down. That's kind of what they do. And I thought that's what happened in this game. And it is just frustrating. You miss 14 free throws. You have all the issues early where you look out of sorts. And it just, like I said, this is not going to be one of the games that Arkansas loses this year that I look back at the end and go, oh, they should have won that one. But I am disappointed that it felt like they didn't really give themselves that much of a chance because of the way they started it.
Yeah, we just got to take our lick and keep pushing.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with this from Lanky. Says that defensive start by Houston was wild. They were flying around, brother. And everything that you think of with a Houston team in terms of just being physical and disruptive and tough, they were all of that. And Arkansas had a hell of a time with it out of the gates. But to their credit, like they settled it down. I guarantee you that Kelvin Sampson was highly critical of his defense. I mean, you forced him to go to a zone for almost the entire second half because they couldn't guard you and they had nothing for Malik Ewan one-on-one in the post. So there are some positives to take away from that. You shot yourself in the foot too early, man.
Yeah. I do like the premise though, that like Arkansas got punched in the mouth. They felt what it was like to get overwhelmed, to have a team really set that tone. And then they found a way to like adjust to those circumstances. Obviously it wasn't enough. And, I'm not even saying that if they played again tomorrow, Arkansas would be able to win or do anything, but I do like that they felt what that was like. So now they have something to kind of identify and move forward with. But then they figured it out. It's not one of those things where they just lost and said, all right, that was a horrible matchup. We got blown out. Now let's figure out a solution. They found a solution in real life, but to your point, just kind of ran out of gas. You knew they weren't going to be able to overcome it and come all the way back.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just so everybody knows, like, just go ahead and understand that the next week is going to be rough if you're a Razorback fan. It's just the way it's going to be, because there's always a massive reaction to a John Calipari loss. But think about this for a minute. Think about how national folks reacted when you lost to Michigan State and when you lost to Duke, and they've been showing you a lot of love, and now they feel stupid. And any opportunity people get to really pile on, the Razorbacks or Cal, they'll do it. So that's coming. Remember the Fayetteville fade. We talked about it after that Michigan State game. I tried to tell y'all it was a 3-point loss, but a few days afterwards, you're going to feel like it was the worst thing that's ever happened in Arkansas basketball history. Like the way people are going to be talking about it. The same thing is getting ready to happen here, and it's a little bit more warranted this time. Doesn't matter. You got the whole SEC schedule to play. You've done good work in the non-conference, but for the next few days, you will be getting pissed off about a lot of the things that you hear. Sure. I'm just telling you right now, that's going to happen. Tuna's house. We appreciate it. Says, A-Cuff, great. You and free throws have my grandma, what? Hotter than fish grease? So what's he talking about? GMA?
I thought that was grandma. I'm assuming it's grandma.
Sure. Piss poor defensively from many, especially Thomas. How does Houston score 90? We got exploited. Hopefully a wake-up call before SEC play. Yeah, I mean.
I will say, Houston does, I know that Houston is typically the team that is tough, physical, and doesn't have a ton of skill offensively. They got some skilled players over there. Fleming, by the way, I couldn't believe at one point they showed he had 11 points, and I was like, no way, he's got at least 20. Yeah. I felt like he was killing, man. They're
and then he finished with 21.
Yeah, they're not like an untalented offensive team.
No, they're not. They're good. They're known for their defense, and because they suffocate teams like that, they just don't score as much because they don't play as many possessions. That's just kind of the deal. They might have found something offensively by going a little bit smaller in there. But yeah, they are not a bad offensive team, but they are certainly not the type of offensive team that scores 94 on you and you just brush it off. That's concerning. It's something that Arkansas is going to have to figure out for sure. Eureka Strings. The other part of it, I just want to point this out, is like Houston does not turn the ball over. They're like Arkansas. They really don't turn it over that much, fewer than 10 per game. And because Arkansas was playing from behind so much, it was a lot of pressing, a lot of trapping, a lot of trying to create some chaos, and they were able to pass their way out of that and get a lot of quality shots. Would it have been different if it was a tighter game and Arkansas was able to do a little bit more straight up? I don't know what that would look like, but I think that contributed to them being able to just be disciplined and not turn the ball over. And when you're able to do that against the press, you usually get pretty quality looks, and they did. Eureka String says, lost this game on defense and at the line, letting Houston score 9. Did I just read this? No,
you were about to read it. Made your point.
Yeah, they were similar to the last one there. But yes, letting Houston score 90+ points is shameful activity. Getting calls only helps if you're better than 60% in free throws. Yeah, Arkansas, they were 77% as a team coming into the game, 60% in this one. They kept talking about Ewan being 17 or 21, and that's been the biggest thing because he was like a 61% free throw shooter coming into Arkansas, and it's kind of what he was today. Like he reverted back to Florida State habits. We can't have that.
Which is always the thing. Anytime you show me a team that has a bad free throw performance, show me who shot the free throws. Did Malik Thomas shoot 15 free throws? Because I'd be a lot more concerned if he went 8 of 15. You know what I mean? Like Ewan accounting for so many of them, and to your point, was due for a little bit of regression. Doesn't make it excusable. Doesn't make me feel better about it, but it's a lot easier to understand how you got there. With Pringle shooting a couple, Ewan shooting a ton. I think Brazil had a couple. Acuff went over 2, which is a little bit weird, but it makes a little bit more sense when you see who shot a lot of them.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree. DJ Wagner played 35 minutes in this game. I was just looking at the minutes because I was trying to remember if Acuff came off the floor. I remember he did just briefly. He played 39. The only other player over 30 was DJ at 35. All right. The student section says, how does it take 30 minutes to adjust to blitzing? Did it take 30 minutes?
I feel like it took like 11.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like halfway through the first half. And at that point, I don't think they really had an issue with it the rest of the game. They only turned it over 3 more times after that. So they got there. And we talked about it in the pregame and everything. It's just Arkansas has done a good job against teams doubling and blitzing ball screens this season. It's a little bit different when Houston does it, especially like with Tugler and some of those dudes on the floor. So yeah, it was an adjustment that they needed to make, and it took too long for them to make it. But yeah, I don't think it was 30 minutes. Hickory Hog says almost every chance the Hogs had to capture momentum, they missed the shot. Houston decided to be Steph Curry today. Yeah, 11 of 25 from three. When Houston does that, you ain't going to beat them. Middle finger to all the haters in the chat. We're fine. It does hurt, though. Woo pig.
I mean, that's what decides these games. There's stretches in every game where you just kind of know, all right, that was the most important moment of the game. There were several moments in this game. You mentioned DJ missing a couple of open threes. Carter had a couple where it's like, if that shot goes in, it's a completely different game. Anytime that shot went up for Houston, they nailed it. It was just unbelievable. And, you know, some of them were even pretty contested. But, yeah, it's just you got to tip your hat, and you can be mad about it, but it's like, as a Hog, you just got to make that shot, man.
Yes. Yes, you do. They had plenty of those that could have been like momentum shifters that were wide open.
Oh.
Exactly. And so it's hard to be, you know, Arkansas shoots 8 of 20 from three. That's, I mean, it's good. It's 40%. That's not bad at all, but man, it felt like they missed some pretty open, good looks there, but whatever. Chris, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it, especially the extra penny there. That's big time. Says, I love our team. I love where we're at. We're like Rocky and Rocky 1 and 2. We're going to get back up and punch our way back to the championship game. I like that.
We're like Rocky, where the team gets tired by beating us up.
Yeah. That's good stuff there. Andrew, you kind of called this, you know, that Arkansas might take one on the chin, you know, a little bit against Houston, and might be I don't know, like a learning lesson or whatever, but that would be the motivation they need to get things right over the holidays here, and then just go cruising through SEC play. I hope that's true.
You got to keep that carrot dangling in front of these boys. You can't let them get comfortable. You know, it's easy when you're playing for Coach Cal to feel like a star. You get a little comfortable. You start winning some games. They needed this.
Someone's son, member for 7 months. It's big time. Says, can we play this in the South next time? Yeah. The Arkansas and Houston playing in New Jersey thing was weird. I'm all for going and playing games like that. I'd love to play at the Garden again. Look like a cool, you know, venue, the Prudential Center and everything, but I just like playing Houston there doesn't make any sense to me. Play somebody else you would normally play. I don't like play UConn there. It might be a home game for them. Play Gonzaga or something. Like, I don't care. I just like the regional thing. If you're going to do a neutral, do it in Dallas, like you did this Texas Tech game. I don't know. It just seems silly to me.
We should have been in that State Farm Classic.
Yeah,
although that would have been tough today because we would have been on the same court. Kentucky would have gotten their biggest win of the year, and Arkansas would have had their worst loss of the year back to back. That would have been tough.
That would have been brutal. Shout out to St. John's for they would finish in last place in the SEC. We know that much because they've been getting their ass kicked by everybody in the SEC. That's a good win for Kentucky, though. Quainton's looked good in his debut. He looked good. Tuna's House says Thomas was minus 23. Is that right? In this game, I got to look at this. I'm not trying to doubt you, Tuna, but that's tough if true. He sure was. 15 minutes. Houston outscored Arkansas by 23 points in 15 minutes that Malik Thomas is on the floor. That is tough. I know plus minus is not the end all be all, but that's glaring. Minus 13 was the next worst. That was Nick Pringle in his 9 minutes.
Played 9 minutes.
Yeah. Wow, dude.
Goodness, those are two pretty small minute totals to be that big of plus minus.
Getting run over like that. Yeah, I mean, if he's minus 23 in 15 minutes, Malik Ewan played 28 minutes for those who are mad about his free throws, and Arkansas was plus 5 with him on the floor. So,
yeah, he was definitely a net positive for the Arkansas Razorbacks today. And I mean, I've obviously, like you said, plus minus isn't why I'm saying that. But like, yeah, Malik Ewan, it was not something that stood in the way of Arkansas winning.
Gosh, man, that's wow, that's wild. That's bad. Okay.
Thomas did have a couple horrible turnovers that prompted that whole 20-point run or whatever. So it wasn't even one of those he checked in and just happened to be on the floor when the thing happened. He had a couple of those turnovers that directly led to buckets that started the whole fall apart.
He did. I was taking some report card notes, and it was like as soon as he came in, he just like didn't keep his man in front. Turned it over. He got like he tried to do a spin move and he got tied up by somebody that just kind of big boyed him. In the second half, he came into the game and immediately helped off of Emmanuel Sharp for no reason. Like he was already heating up, and he just helped off of him for no reason, trying to get in the passing lane. Gets popped for 3, and then he comes down and takes like a contested runner over 3 guys the next possession and missed that. And I was like, good grief, brother, what are we doing?
I'm not going to pull them up because it would ruin the chat that you have pulled, the actual super chat you have pulled up. But back-to-back comments, these are both true statements. So we have
Okay.
one that says plus minus is the dumbest stat. It's kind of coincidental. That is a true statement. I do agree with that statement.
We acknowledge that right away.
For sure.
For the record.
But we also agree with the next statement, which is from Chris. And he says, Thomas's first 6 possessions on both ends of the court were absolutely atrocious and killed us. He is right about this. And I will go back and watch. They weren't like each one play wasn't the craziest play, but they added up to like a 10-point swing in 3 minutes that completely changed the game. It's hard to ignore that.
Yeah. And that can be misleading and everything like that. But to me, when you wind up losing a game by 9, okay, and not like when you lose by 9, minus 23 is a huge number. And when you only play 15 minutes, and that's notable. You should have got him out beforehand. Because some of it's coincidental. You can just happen to be out on the floor when a team hits back-to-back threes or something. The next thing you know, you're in the negative. But yeah, that one's rough. Eureka String says, wish we could have more than 2 to 3 guys show up in a single game against good competition. Imagine if a 4th or hell, even a 5th guy showed up. I feel you in this game today. Don't forget the Louisville game. Don't forget the Texas Tech game. Very good teams that Arkansas played very, very well against. But this one sucked. There's no getting around that one. We got Woo Pig MK says, what do you think we'll learn from this game? Hopefully you learn to come ready to play. Because like there will be some good things that Arkansas can take away from this that they were able to accomplish. I know I keep harping on this, but anytime you can make Houston go to a zone defense, then you've done something right. The way that they adjusted and settled in and chilled out on those turnovers, you can take something away from that. We've questioned Arkansas as a rebounding team all season, but they out-rebounded Louisville, crushed them on the offensive glass. They out-rebounded Texas Tech, beat them on the glass. They out-rebounded Houston in this game and beat them on the offensive glass. That's notable. That's a notable thing. Those are good. So those are things that you can take away from it. But I think what you learn is you got to come out ready to play against teams like that. And you got to find somebody's got to be able to step up and stop the bleeding. And sometimes it can be a made shot. Sometimes it can be just like slap the floor and guard somebody and get a stop there. Giving up 40 points in 10 minutes to Houston that's ridiculous. It was like they were playing the damn, Splash Brother Warriors out there. It was crazy.
Well, and to that point, every possession counts the same.
Mm-hmm.
They don't all feel the same throughout the course of a game. Like, obviously, once you're in the final minute, you're taking better care of the basketball than you have the previous 39 because you understand in that moment how important the basketball is, how important possession is. You take fewer stupid shots in the final 5 minutes of the game, early in the shot clock, selfish pull-ups, because in those moments, oh, wow, the game's on the line. This is huge. Let me take care of the ball. You're going to be quicker on your rotations because you know how big of a deal it is. And I know it's easier said than done to just say, hey, treat all 40 minutes like they're the last 4 minutes. But it's like you see Arkansas make so many dumb mistakes early in a game because they almost kind of feel it. How, hey, the game's not up for grabs right now. This is not as important as the final 10 minutes. And like we usually see, once they settle in and start treating every possession like an important possession, they take great care of the basketball. Hey, their shot selection is pretty good. Oh, they can get on, make some plays defensively, can create some things, but they don't have that same intensity for 40 minutes. And it's a lot easier to just say, do it. It's something you have to get used to over the course of the year, getting better and getting closer to where you're treating all 40 minutes with that same intensity. It's hard to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I hope that they have learned that they need to start Malik Ewan. You know what I mean? Like we've had these conversations about should I just start Malik Thomas and instead of DJ or whatever? Well, I don't know if that's the route I'm going after this one. There's an argument to be made for Billy and the way that he's played. You don't want to be too overreactionary in a one loss, but I think we can all agree that Billy has been a lot better for Arkansas coming off the bench. He's somebody that thrives in that way. But I think you might be able to get yourself off to a better start by rolling with Ewan over Pringle here. Because Pringle was better against Queens, but I mean, I don't know. What are we doing here?
I'll let you talk about it on the report card. I'm not going to comment on Nick Pringle's game. It's Christmas.
Are you going to comment on Malik Ewan's ability to start basketball games, though? Do you agree?
Yes, I agree with that point.
Okay. Just a couple more here, and then we'll call it a day. Eureka String says $2 more because thanks for the coverage, fellas. Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Eureka Strings, man.
It's nice to, when people come in here and tap in even after a frustrating game. And I know that's exactly what this one was. Tucker Hall, thank you for the super chat, says Houston has defense intensity that if you don't see often, it puts you on your heels early, then it snowballs so fast when they're also shooting the cover off of it. Yeah, that's what happened here. It is different. It's one of those things that you can't simulate in practice. You hear coaches say that all the time. I remember when teams used to really pressure a ton, or like when Arkansas would do the 40 minutes of hell thing and coaches would put a sixth defender on the floor in practice to try to simulate it. But the way Houston plays with their physicality and their recovery was what was so impressive to me. They would double and then be across the floor in a split second. They were forcing Arkansas to throw some crazy, like dangerous lob passes, across the court, lollipopping it because you couldn't get anything behind it. Like it was something. And so I'm glad that Arkansas eventually adjusted and settled in, and now they've seen it. Like, I don't know what else you could see from a team defensively that's going to be, like more impressive than how Houston looked early. But you're right, man. When you're trying to figure that out on the fly and it's combined with them making every shot that they take because you're turning it over, that is not a good recipe. Fishman says, I don't listen to shows outside the state when we lose because these a-holes piss me off too much. Hopefully we'll learn from this and get better. Yeah, for sure. I will listen to it because I like to have a pulse for what people are saying and how they're feeling about the team. I just hope that they don't overdo it. It's like we've been critical after this game. You should be. Not that there's shame in losing to Houston, but Arkansas didn't play particularly well in this one, and there's some things that we talked about that they've got to figure out. But what I will roll my eyes at if it's like, it's a classic Calipari, Louisville's flawed and okay. Just completely discounting anything else that they've done based on one result. That's the kind of thing that ticks me off. Hopefully people acknowledge that at least Arkansas found some success on the offensive end of the floor, but I don't know. We'll see.
100%. And listen, when you're coming off big wins, that is the time. Now, like you said, it's good to have that pulse and know what's going on. That is the time to look and be mad that people aren't giving you respect or whatever. Right now, as a Razorback fan, you just kind of have to eat it a little bit. Even if you know they're wrong, even if you know they're being dramatic, you just have to kind of eat it. The good thing is, won't be too long. You're going to play Tennessee. Everybody that's talking crazy and that will talk crazy, you beat Tennessee, I guarantee you it changes. I guarantee you all those same comments will then turn into, wow, Arkansas's had this tremendous turnaround, this tremendous, wow, they figured it out. Or they just played at home and played better. That's really all it is. But you know how it is. We have to, every moment that we live in, we have to be a prisoner of that moment.
Mm-hmm. Arkansas came into the game ranked 25th at KenPom. They have exited the game ranked 25th at KenPom.
Love it.
So the late little, okay, this was 15 and now it's 9 at the end. That matters. And the fact that you did have a lot of success. If you go look at the box score from an offensive standpoint, it looks like you kind of shredded one of the best defenses in the country. And now Arkansas is up to they're up to 19th in offensive efficiency in the country. They dropped it on defense. Obviously they're down to 47th, but it kind of counteracted itself and they have stayed put. And so we'll see what it looks like when we wake up tomorrow. This stuff changes every day. So who cares? But I'll let the haters hate, but if the metrics kind of stay intact, then I'll feel decent about this. But if you stayed put in KenPom, you're probably not going to drop a ton in the net for a neutral, quad 1A loss. And they're probably not going to get dinged too bad for this one. Fortunately, now, if they would have just got their doors blown off like it was trending, that probably would have wound up being the case. I don't know. If you need a silver lining or moral victory, I kind of could use one of those right now. Then there you go. That's the best I can do for you today.
I like that.
Anything else, Andrew, before we wrap it up here and call today? Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us, like we said. And it's a lot more fun when we're talking about wins after these big games. But we cover the losses too, man. Frustrating freaking day. I get it, but not the end of the world by any means for the Hogs.
Yeah, frustrating. And it's like double frustration. I feel like, Curtis, all of our worst internet moments. Now, obviously, I'll have my usual day-to-day or whatever, but it's like a lot of our biggest blowups have come also on the heels of just a horrible result. You know, I think of Stillwater. I think of this. The tip-off tour in Hot Springs wasn't bad, but like some of our biggest ones, it like adds to the frustration. Like if Arkansas had won by 18, you wouldn't have even cared that my internet sucked. You would have just been like, whatever. Like, yeah, it's fine. But when it's a loss, it really sucks. Apologies for that. I'm in my nephew's bedroom in Pineville, Louisiana, trying to make this thing work. Trying to make the most of Christmas while also doing this. So I appreciate the people that weren't jerks making fun of me in the chat. But in all seriousness, no, I appreciate everybody for doing this and always pulling up with us and having a good time, even if you're frustrated, which you should be. But we ain't going nowhere. And neither is this Arkansas basketball team. We still got a lot of good days ahead, and it's just part of the journey, man. Take your lick and keep pushing. That's what we're doing.
Yep, no doubt about it. So thank all you guys for rocking with us and supporting everything we got going on. We certainly do appreciate that. The Pot the Palace is going to keep on rolling on through the holidays and everything here. We do have a 9-day break, so we'll be able to really get into the weeds of what's going well and what this team has to work on before they get back out there on the court. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Safe travels for the holidays, all those things. And we'll see you guys next time. It's been Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis with Inside Arkansas and the Pot the Palace. You guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch you later.